So I just wanted to do another look at some very nice paper. This is the Maruman Mnemosyne memo pad. It comes in this bubble wrap envelope, which is always a nice touch. And here is the notebook or memo pad itself. Again, the company is called Maruman, and the brand or the line is called the Mnemosyne. And this specific model is the N170, but this paper is sold in all sorts of different variants. So I wouldn't get too hung up on this model unless you wanted this exact specific one. These guys sell all sorts of different notebooks. This is one of my favorites, right? So what we see here is pretty thin, 50 pages, soft cover, so not a hard cover, so it bends. You can see 5mm grid, so a smaller grid, 40 sheets. And I guess the big thing here is that it's vertically oriented, or maybe it's horizontally oriented, depending on how you're looking at it. The point is that it's staple bound, and it's stapled on the side. If you are left-handed, then something bound at the top is really helpful. Anytime you have something that is wire bound on the side, left-handed people have trouble writing with the wires here. Same difference with something staple bound. Anytime this is pushed up here, you have trouble getting to the edges. So to deal with that, a lot of times we as left-handers tend to use stuff that is bound at the top, whether it's wired or stapled, or even glued, doesn't really matter. These are nice notebooks. They're a little bit on the expensive side. This one would have cost about maybe $13, $12. It's got a relatively light cover. It has this pop of yellow on the inside, which is very nice. And it just says ancient Greek goddess of memory, blah, blah, blah. Nothing too exciting, but it is cool that it is yellow. The pages here are ready to be folded, so basically one fold will get you to the top of the binding there. The second fold will cover the top, so you want to do those in stages, and then it'll fold relatively flat. You'll see this is the Mnemosyne Light. There's the grid. It's a relatively light grid. It's a light gray. This paper is 80 grams per square meter, so on the heavy side. And I don't have a way to quantify the smoothness, but this is some of the smoothest paper that I purchased. So if you're into that, something smooth and heavy, sort of like a fountain pen writing, then this is a really nice option for that. The grid does not extend to the back. These pages are, they're not pre-folded, similar to the cover, but it's not really important. They go through, like they fold over without a big problem. There's almost no loss of space there. I don't believe these pages are perforated, but given the price of the notebook, I would expect them to be. Yep, they are, sorry. They are perforated, so that's not a problem there. The notebook has no other extra features or anything like that. No folder on the back, no rubber bands or anything to hold it shut, just very plain. So keep that in mind. As far as how it holds up, these things hold up fine. The oak on the, the notepad on the back, or the oak tag, whatever you want to call it, is not particularly heavy. It's pretty bendy, so it does bend. Nothing's really stopping this thing from getting messed up in the back of a notepad. There's the company, and then the website, and the model number again if you want to find this specific one. But the point really isn't that this specific one, it's just getting a feel for the Mnemosyne line, and then go ahead and getting the one that's right for you. Again, I really like their notepads just because they tend to have nice smooth paper that's nice and heavy. I like the black and yellow. That's very cool, and I like that they're stripped down. They're a little bit overpriced, but not usually so. It's just like nice paper costs money, and once in a while you want to splurge and get a slightly nicer notebook. Generally speaking, I would look at Mnemosyne as being an upgrade to Rhodia. Not a huge upgrade, but a slight upgrade. So if you've been using Rhodia and you're looking for something very similar, check these guys out. It's some different sizes, different color combinations. I think the paper is just a bit smoother, but again, it's really hard to tell. It might just be in my head, so I'm paying more. So do a quick writing test and we will move on. Let me mark this up. So this is, should we write Maruman? And this is with a Jetstream 1.0 millimeter. Very smooth pen for some very smooth paper. Nice and smooth, no problems there. And this has really good ink pickup. And let's see how this looks. This is a TWSBI Eco. I want to say this is the broad. So you could see, or you will be able to see right now, relatively strong ink resistance. So you do see some color variation. Started looking at the top of the B, the top of the E, and then relative to something like that D over there. And that's just a mark of paper that is resisting the ink. Which seems like a bad thing because you do get some smearing, but on the flip side of that is that if you are writing with a fountain pen, you will be able to get more shading out of the ink. So you can see how long that stays wet, but as it dries, you can see there's a lot more color variation within that blue. So something to keep in mind as you're choosing your paper. Something like a Tomo River paper is going to be kind of the extreme example of that, but their paper tends not to be super practical for everyday use. This Mnemosyne paper is sort of like a fun middle ground there, so you can get slightly better light for there. And then flipping it over, very little coming through, even though we're putting down a fair bit of paper, ink on that paper. Yeah, this is going on longer than I had hoped. Anyway, so this is the Maruman Mnemosyne Memo Pad. I like these guys a lot, but Rhodia is pretty much gonna get you, I don't know, 90, 95% of the way there. Thanks for watching.